Of course, the progression of the game isn't really the only thing that concerns me. I also have some concerns about a few classes, in particular, you guessed it, paladins. In particular about paladins, you guessed it, holy paladins. Don't worry, I will get to retribution later. I'd like to start off by saying that I am thrilled that Blizzard is creating an ability just for holy paladins like me to do damage with at range. This is the kind of thing that I have wanted since the Burning Crusade, since Vanilla came out, and it's the kind of thing I honestly didn't think they'd ever give us, at least way back then. I am so glad that the days when paladins were doing nothing but passive melee damage is gone. Thank the light that those days are gone. Blizzard is doing a really good job of proving that they care about the fun factor these days. But as awesome as Denounce is, Holy still has some issues when it comes to their damage kit. In particular, Holy doesn't have any multi-target abilities right now. Seal of Righteousness, that does not count. At this point, every other healer in the game besides Holy Paladins has a viable multi-target damage ability. Monks have Spinning Crane Kick, Priests have Mind Seer, Shaman have Chain Lightning, and Druids have Hurricane. The trainable Paladin AoE abilities from Cataclysm, Consecration, and Holy Wrath are going to be protection-only spec abilities in Mists of Pandaria. They won't be class abilities anymore. Getting them back might help, but there's more than one way of solving this issue. They could give Holy Paladins another ability, they could make Denounce work with seals, there's probably a lot of other things which I haven't thought of yet. Also, Holy has nothing to spend Holy Power on that deals damage. In Cataclysm, Holy Paladins can pop Inquisition, and that lets them spend Holy Power while they're soloing. That could work for Mists of Pandaria as well, but what would be even nicer is a nice ranged finisher. I know that this can't be Blizzard's top priority, it shouldn't be. But Blizzard should address this before Mists of Pandaria goes live, because I'm worried that the lack of an AoE or Holy Power finisher is going to prevent soloing as Holy from being fun. And as always, the fun factor needs to be kept first and foremost in Blizzard's mind. In particular, I'm worried that without an AoE or a Holy Power finisher, scenarios will not be fun, and PvE scenarios are one of the things I'm looking forward to the most in Mists of Pandaria. It might seem strange that I'm suggesting Blizzard add new abilities. After all, Blizzard seems to be taking out every ability that they can get away with right now. But Blizzard has proven with rogues that they are actually willing to add new abilities even now. They've given them a new finisher for AoE called Crimson Tempest. I think I've beaten around the bush long enough. Time for me to address the fact that Retribution is not getting a charge. Before I start though, I'd like to tell you guys that Spell Reflect, one of the warrior's abilities, taught me that there are two sides to every coin. Back during the Burning Crusades beta, I remember seeing a warrior thread that complained that Spell Reflect wasn't worth the rage cost, that it didn't benefit from all the bells and whistles that caster buffs benefited from, and that in general it wasn't a good ability for warriors. So from the warrior's perspective, this sucks. From a caster's perspective, it sucks even worse. They're absolutely horrified. So it seems underpowered from one angle, it seems overpowered from another angle. There's two sides to this coin. So let's try to approach the fact that Retribution doesn't have a charge from both sides of it. Here's what a Retribution Paladin, as a Mists of Pandaria, is thinking. At range, I'm nigh unto helpless. I have ranged abilities on cooldowns that generate holy power, sure, and I have speed boosters tied into them, but those speed boosters are going to be overridden by the slows they're going to keep putting on me. And Emancipate, yeah, I can get rid of them with Emancipate, but that's going to blow my mana and my cooldowns, and Hat of Freedom is useless because it'll be purged or spell stolen or whatever. Sure, if I get near them, I hit like a truck, but I just can't get there. I need a charge. Buff me! And here's what a ranged class is probably thinking. Oh, not another Retribution Paladin. I have to keep a Dispel on my bar just so that I can fight them. And I have to blow global cooldowns on slow so that I can just keep alive instead of just blasting them. And they can shield out of anything I throw at them. And they got freaking heals. Thank the light they never use them. And thank the light they usually get near enough to hit me with Templar's Verdict. I'm telling you, they need a nerf! I guess I'm kind of defending Blizzard by saying all of this. The point is that a charge might not really be necessary, and given how bursty red is, having a charge might make them overpowered. That being said, it looks to me like Retribution having a charge and being less bursty would be more fun at both ends of this straw. Of course, all of this is easy for me to say because I don't play Retribution. But what really grinds me up right now is the fact that the charge substitute which I and other paladins have suggested actually went to brewmaster monks. Not only I, but other paladins got this same idea. It's like a cross between charge and death grip. You rush toward the enemy rushes towards you, and you meet in the middle. It prevents the dreaded homogenization because it's different from death grip, different from charge, and it's reasonably paladin-ish. Blizzard liked the idea so much they gave it to brewmasters. Now, even though I know that a charge might not be necessary, even though I know Blizzard has every legal and moral right to use our suggestions however they see fit to make the game as fun as possible, I had forgotten how infuriating it is to see your suggestions go to another class. It's like your class has this problem, you and other players are channeling your creativity into solving it, and in the end Blizzard takes your idea, all your hard work, and does something completely different with it, and your class's problem is left hanging. It feels like a spit in the face. It's not what it looks like to Blizzard, but I gotta tell you, it's not fun when this kind of thing happens. Experience shows that when you suggest something for paladins, it's the new class that ends up getting it, not paladins. When you suggest something for shaman, then paladins get it. Sorry shaman, but I don't know how you guys can get what you want. On the subject of shaman, people have suggested in the past that I should have done a Does Blizzard Really Hate Shaman series, and I can see why. Shaman don't seem to have gotten much better in the last 6 years. Back in vanilla, shaman were miles ahead of paladins in all the ways that were the most important. I remember doing a side-by-side comparison between shaman and paladin abilities, and paladins actually came out ahead in a lot of areas. Blessings and ores were a way better buff system than totems, and our heals were a little bit better, even though we lacked a group heal besides Judgment of Light. But in the areas that did the most for the fun factor, on-demand damage abilities, shaman were way ahead of us. They had on-demand damage abilities, they had ranged abilities, they had an interrupt, a slow, a multi-target heal, and an actual strike in vanilla. Paladins had none of those things. Right now, paladins have all of those things. Paladins have come a long way since vanilla, and I am very glad of it. But what have shaman gotten since then? They've gained the ability to dual wield a grand total of 2 new strikes, 1 or 2 new ranged spells, an AoE knockback, a passive damage shield, an AoE heal over time, some PvE crowd control, and an instant heal over time. Oh, and a pet on cooldown. It's not terrible, but it's a lot less fun, and less utility. They haven't gotten a charge, they haven't gotten a stun, they haven't gotten a silence. Oh, and they can't tank anymore. But what I think is worst of all is that their top-tier talents don't look like they do a good job of appealing to all 3 specs. The same with some of their other talents, like conductivity. I mean, why would an elemental or enhancement shaman even cast Healing Rain? And Blizzard hasn't updated the shaman talents in forever. What's really disappointing is that for a long time Blizzard had question marks and coming soon in the level 90 tier, and when they finally have something there, it kinda sucks. That's pretty disappointing. I'm glad Ghostcrawler made a post specifically for shaman, but here's hoping that they do some rethinking in level 90's tier. I mean, they did a really good job with the top tier talents for paladins. I know they can do a good job with these, but I'd like to see them actually do it. Players are using my talent grid maker to make some really good, really creative solutions, or even just small modifications to the existing ideas. I certainly hope Blizzard employees are taking some time to look at them. At this point you guys are probably thinking to yourselves, why did Longrider skip over my class? Rogues need to be reworked so Mongosh doesn't deal more damage than Sinister Strike. Druid class abilities need to be rethought. What the heck are they doing with Warlocks? Well, I can't cover everything. Those are legitimate concerns. But there's little doubt in my mind at this point that Blizzard is actually listening to those concerns. And if you disagree, well, it's easy enough to make a video of your own. Time-consuming, but easy. But one of my biggest concerns right now, and something that I actually have the audacity to think I can help with, is professions. This merits a different video series, albeit a fairly short one, and it is going to be called, as previously stated, Does Blizzard Really Hate Gnomish Engineers?